Welcome to today's video. Let's explore a rare moment, the processing of a giant grouper weighing up to 81.4 kilograms. Our expert, who has 17 years of experience in the profession, will show us the delicate technique and patience required to process such a huge fish. Let's watch him overcome this exciting challenge. Today, he performed the nerve ligating and blood drawing technique on this giant fish. This is an important step because this technique not only helps the fish meat stay fresh longer, but also ensures optimal quality for each fiber of meat, bringing rich flavor and perfect tenderness when processed. After completing the preliminary processing steps, the fish is soaked in ice water for a week. This period of time not only helps the fish meat become softer, but also highlights the natural flavor, making each piece of meat richer and more attractive. The result after a week is that the fish muscle has reached the ideal softness, ready for great dishes. When comparing this giant grouper to other groupers such as the long-toothed grouper or the Malabar grouper, he points out that the difference is very obvious. Not only is the size different, but the texture of the meat is also completely different. The meat of this grouper is thick, firm, and fatty, creating a richness and flavor that other groupers cannot match. Its enormous size also brings a sense of impression at first sight, making every step of preparation an interesting challenge. The process begins with sharpening knives and carefully removing each scale from the giant grouper. This is a process that requires patience and skill, because the scales of the fish are so large and hard that a special knife is needed to scrape them off. In fact, it takes 2 people 30 minutes to work continuously just to process the scales. The large, thick, and sharp scales, about the size of a thumb, look like crocodile skin, creating a mysterious and impressive beauty for this giant grouper. Next, he began to cut off the fish's head, a job that required strength and dexterity. With a sharp knife, he carefully cut each layer of meat, but the head bone was too hard, requiring him to use a lot of strength. When he encountered difficulties, he asked his younger brother standing next to him to help, so that both of them could cut off the fish's head firmly and safely. Then he moved to the fish's belly. Each sharp stroke of the knife helped open up the inside of the fish. He discovered that the internal organs were still intact, and the stomach was completely empty. This could be because the fish had been transported alive, causing the food in the stomach to be completely digested. With meticulousness, he carefully turned the fish's belly, trying not to break the internal organs, because this could affect the delicate flavor of the meat. After a week of keeping the fish with its internal organs intact, he found that the stomach was still clean. Although he was not sure if the internal organs could be eaten, he decided to keep them all because the quality of the meat and these internal parts could create delicious and nutritious dishes. It was this dedication that helped him increase the value of the giant grouper, bringing an interesting and attractive experience to the viewers. The fish cutting process begins with specialized knives from the renowned brand Masimoto. These knives are renowned for their sharpness and high quality, easily cutting through the thick and tough joints of the fish. With each cut, the sword-like blade glides through the meat and bones, proving the superiority of Masimoto in handling such giant fish. As soon as the knife passed over the fish bone, blood began to ooze out, but I had carefully prepared a wet cloth underneath to prevent the blood from seeping into the meat, keeping the fish clean and pure. After cutting off the heavy head, the fish's mass was significantly reduced, making the next steps of processing lighter, allowing me to handle the remaining parts more easily and accurately. Cutting the grouper requires great patience. The large joints of the fish need to be separated slowly, and I have to carefully guide the blade between the joints so as not to damage the meat. Cutting the belly is the first step, and I concentrate on every cut because this fish is very valuable, up to 400,000 yen. I feel a lot of pressure when handling such an expensive fish, but I still try my best to complete the job. The giant grouper is very fatty, to the point that when cutting the meat, the fish oil flows out, making the knife slippery and difficult to cut. There are some very hard bones, and I have to use more strength to get the knife through. The cuts gradually form, creating large slices of meat that we can process into many delicious dishes such as sashimi or steak. The skin of the fish is about 2 millimeters thick, with a layer of fat covering it evenly, promising to create a rich dish. When it came to the mid-bone, I discovered that the grouper's skeleton had a distinctive curved structure, unlike the straight bones of tuna. This made cutting and separating the belly bones more delicate and patient. After some concentration and effort, I was able to separate the bones and meat meticulously, making sure not to waste any part. The meat around the bones would be used for grilling. This part was very fatty and flavorful. The belly bones were even large and sturdy enough to be used as chews for large dogs. Next, he skillfully used a knife to cut along the fish's body, moving towards the gills, then carefully separated each piece of belly bone. This process required meticulousness and absolute precision. Each knife stroke needed to be in the right place to preserve the quality of the meat. Thanks to his extensive skills and experience, he performed the operations skillfully, handling this giant fish step by step with ease and confidence. At the end of the process, I used an electric saw to cut off the head of the fish and split the fish in half in a flash, a step that saves a lot of time. To preserve the remaining fish, I used a vacuum sealer, which prevents oxidation and helps keep the fish fresh longer. The fish parts will then be delivered to supermarkets, where giant groupers like this rarely appear. Thank you for watching our journey to discover the challenging process of catching giant grouper. Hopefully, the video has brought you interesting information and suggestions for a more attractive meal. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel to continue supporting us and not miss other interesting videos. See you in the next videos.